go over the rumored and expected fight sequences that will be happening in Avengers Doomsday. The first fight that I see is going to be Gambit versus Dr. Doom. We just got Channing Tatum's Gambit, and it essentially looks like we're not going to have him anymore after this, because I don't see a world in which this fight happens and he lives to tell the tale about it. The next one I see is going to be Mr. Fantastic versus Nightcrawler. Very interesting to see what they do with Nightcrawler's design. I don't imagine he's going to stay looking like this, maybe something a bit more comic accurate. But this fight ultimately comes down to if we get a better version of Mr. Fantastic than we saw in First Steps, because bro got stretched like 12 feet and looked like he was about to pass out. So there's that. Next up, we have Sentry or the Void versus Professor X. I think this is probably one of the better fight sequences that we're going to see, because if I had to guess, just because of the matchup here, this is probably all going to be happening in Robert's mind. This is going to be a psychic matchup, a psychic fight. And honestly, I see this going the way of Professor X as he helps Robert kind of deal with this Void personality. Apparently, one of the fights is going to be Carol Danvers versus Monica Rambeau. I'm not exactly sure why this fight is going to happen, especially since they know each other. But if I had to guess, it's probably just going to end up in a straight-up draw. Next fight we have is going to be Sam Wilson's Captain America versus Cyclops. Honestly, with the vibranium wings, it's hard for Sam to lose a lot of fights, especially considering that his opponent is going to be having Optic Blast, which I imagine that the vibranium shields can just absorb and redirect. I kind of see this fight going to Sam. Apparently, we're getting more than one Gambit fight as he's going to be taking on Shang-Chi. I think this will be a very fun fight. I think it'll take a while for Shang-Chi to get in a close quarter situation against Gambit. But with the 10 rings at his disposal, I don't know if Gambit can win this fight. We then move on to Yelena versus Mystique. Once again, I'm interested to see if they stick with this design or if they try to update it, MCU-ify it. Overall, I'm not too jazzed about this fight. I think this fight will definitely go down as probably one of the more forgettable ones. But if I had to choose one of the two to go with, honestly, I might go with Mystique. One of the more expected but still kind of surprising fights is going to be God of Stories Loki versus Dr. Doom. I imagine in order for this fight to happen, Doom is going to have some sort of power-up or something at his disposal, because at this moment, this version of Loki can effectively control time at a precise level, and I don't know if Dr. Doom in his base form is going to have any sort of counter to that. And I imagine that Sam Wilson's Captain America, Cyclops, and Mr. Fantastic all fighting Dr. Doom at the same time will probably be the peak climactic fight. If I had to guess, they're probably going to do something similar to Infinity War, where Dr. Doom initially wins, which leads to a second movie. I think this final fight is going to be really, really fun. It is reminiscent of Iron Man, Cap, and Thor versus Thanos, but ultimately